I had a great company, awesome prospect. There's a lot we can do for them. They did an RFP first for all of their packaging supplies. Pretty good span, potential $1.5 million a year, and it's residual, obviously.
Yep.
So they decide to do an RFP, and then they like call me and they go, well, the great news is out of 5 suppliers, you were one of the 3 that we chose to continue forward. But the bad news is we want to do a reverse auction.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, I'm playing dumb. I know we don't do reverse auctions. And I'm like, taking a pause, let me talk to my leadership, see what we can do, blah, blah, blah. I'll get back with you tomorrow. So I call them back and I leave a voicemail and just tell them, I'm sorry, we don't do reverse auctions. They don't work for anyway.
Yeah.
And then I literally couldn't sleep at night because I was like, oh my God, they probably think we're arrogant, we're like, don't want to work with them because I do have another project going on the automation, and that's another, $1.5 million in spend. So I'm like, crap, I want to finish that. And then actually one of their directors was like, well, does that mean you don't want to work with us on the other project because we want to do a reverse auction? I'm like, no, we'll still work with you. Although on my team, they're like, we're not doing this.
Right.
Because the reverse auction our proposals.
Yeah.
We're not doing that either. So I call back, leave a voicemail. Hey, I felt really bad. I really don't want to, make you think like we're arrogant. And the procurement guy calls me back on this. And he's like, yeah, let's talk through this. And I just explained to him, I said, historically, this doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for the customer because then we're not making money. You're getting bad service. So it's a lose-lose situation. And it's not like we don't want to work with you. We do want to work with you, but it's just, it's not going to be a good relationship going forward. And at the end, he goes, well, I understand. Well, let's keep the communication open, he said. Let's keep the conversations open. Let me talk to the internal team. You're still working on the other project. Let me talk to the same people that are working on the automation project. And he said, and I'll let you know. And I said, well, what's the next step? What's the best next step? And he goes, why don't I let you know? Let's schedule a call on the 18th. And I'm like, perfect. What time works for you? And he said, let's do 10 a.m. I'm like, okay, I'll call you then. So it's just, before I would have been like, screw you, I'm not doing reverse auction. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right. And you remain calm, you remain cool. And some tips for everybody on this. When you hear stuff like that, first off, don't take it personal. It's just business. Remain cool, remain calm like Lena did. Another little excellent tip when somebody says something like, hey, we're going to do a reverse auction, or hey, we can't do this. When your customer or prospect is asking you for ridiculous stuff, which by the way, a reverse auction is ridiculous, make them explain it. The more you make somebody that's making a ridiculous statement or a ridiculous offer or asking you to do something that's ridiculousness, I think there was a Rob Dyrdek show on MTV called that, it's ridiculousness, right? Make them explain it more. That sounds like this. When you say reverse auction, can you give me a specific example of what you meant? We don't typically ask things like that because we want to seem like we're in the know. Here's what you have to realize. I would rather trade them thinking, well, Matt doesn't know what reverse auctions are, to make them have to actually lay out how ridiculous what they're asking me to do is. Now, one other thing I want to point out to you. You were cool, calm, and collected. All of the sudden, I believe it was procurement. It was the procurement person, right, that kept you in. I'm just going to go out on a limb here, put my tinfoil hat on and read his mind. I think I know one of the biggest reasons why you're still in there. It's that you were calm, you were cool, you were collected, and you calmly, without being disrespectful, told him that this reverse auction, right, that he just laid out for you, is not a good fit for you guys as a company because you have no money, and is certainly not going to be a good fit for them because you don't have the resources to support them, and who ends up losing the most in this is them. Now what you did is you highlighted very skillfully and elegantly, you highlighted that this could come back to procurement. And what I mean by that is, wait a minute, if I just go with the lowest bidder, this whole thing could fall on its face. We're not able to deliver. This could come back to me, right? And it's not applicable to this situation, but this is why in the Easton University portal, I tell you guys to use words like, Chris, hey, I just want to make sure that we're clear on this. With this particular pricing, this does put you in a position where you're not going to have the resources to sufficiently serve your customers. This could hold you back on your projects and could hold back leadership on getting to 64 million by 2027. Now watch this elegant word. Chris, as long as you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. Right? You're running procurement on it. I can price it how you want, but these are not the resources that are needed for the job. I just elegantly made Chris frickin' own it, right? Because this is what pisses me off about procurement. But it pisses me off more because salespeople do this to ourselves. We think procurement's being a jerk, and so we change everything, but we don't.
That's their job.
Yeah, correct. But we also have to make them own it. And when they have to own it, and owning it sounds like this. Hey, as long as you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. I just want to be crystal clear about what's being communicated here, right? And then it's like, if this freaking spaceship blows up, it wasn't me. Like, there's the email right there. So you did a great job on it. And for all of us, just remember, stay cool, stay calm, stay collected, make them explain it. That sounds like this. And when you say blank, when you say you want to move to month pricing, can you give me a specific example? Right? Make them lay it out. Yeah, we want completely variable price, blah, 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 blah. And then make them own it. That sounds like this. Hey, I just want to make sure I'm clear on something here on the completely variable price, which we don't do. It just doesn't work. You're also putting the company in jeopardy for not being able to secure long-term contracts with your client because you have no way of locking in blah, 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 XYZ. And as long as you're okay with that, I'm okay with that. I just want to make sure that I'm clear because I've had it happen, before where it's come back to me and they're like, well, why weren't you firm on the price? And I just want to make sure that we're clear. This is why I am firm. Now all of a sudden the person's like, well, I don't want to go heads up and I'm not going to put my name on the line of the deal, right? And when we can't hire people or we can't service our customers or we can't make payroll, I like being able to say I got a 7% discount, but I don't want to be responsible for the company falling on its face. And that's where we got to elegantly make them own it.
What can you do to prove to people that Easton University can help them double their income in 90 days?
I'll prove it right now. Closing Masterclass. I'll buy it for you, $300. Link in my bio. I will show you how to close. This will double your closing percentage. Not even 90 days. It will double it within 30 days. Now, here's the thing. Is your income going to double? Probably not, because you still need to prospect. You still need to put those deals in your pipeline. But if you click the link in my bio, you will learn how to close right here, right now, and you're going to close those deals that are already in your pipeline.